I'm going to skip over that. Keeping the message very simple, that's no different. I mean, when we, for certain categories, particularly finance, I observe this for, is they often treat real estate online like a press ad. And that's a real shame, because that's not actually making the most of the internet. And clutter, that's kind of making the same point. Don't make people work too hard for your message. It can be a creative aspiration for people to play with things in an ad and sit there and play with it for ages. It just rarely happens. And in such a tiny number that actually an opportunity cost is lost, because you could have put some very strong branding messages out there and driven a search later on, perhaps. I'm speeding up because I know we're running behind a little. If your goal is persuasion, be very careful not to annoy the site visitor. Now, there is a very delicate relationship between driving awareness, and in terms of the brand and in terms of its messaging, and also in terms of persuasion metrics, like making people favourable towards the brand so that they then go on and purchase it, and attributes. At high frequencies, you can achieve very good awareness metrics, but at times, persuasion metrics can be hurt if frequency of exposure is too high. This is particular consideration for very, very interactive ads and video as well. Also ensuring the brand name does not only appear in the product shot. Again, very instinctive stuff, isn't it? Is it? I mean, is there anything that's not really applying to offline advertising here, except for the reveal? Yeah, lots of shaking heads. And a very key one, integrating creative concepts with offline. There is a very big synergistic effect to be achieved. Why would you start from scratch just because it's the internet? Leverage what you're doing offline. Keep it consistent. Make it a trigger for everything that they're experiencing elsewhere. And tied into this is obviously editorial environment to some extent as well. The halo effect that can be achieved from a very premium editorial environment. Actually, there are very few studies out there that really prove this, but the ones I've seen are very convincing. And the use of cognitive neuroscience is actually very important when trying to understand the halo effect of editorial. This is more actually for financiers here. The inclusion of coupons, free offer, trials, and rate-driven advertising is really very effective for branding, and as you would expect. And because click-through rates can be so low, you can wonder what else you could possibly do there. There are many other elements to what people are doing online. There are blogs, there's editorial, and another element to capture when trying to understand what people are doing online, what they're thinking as a result of being exposed to any kind of messaging around your brand or sector, and what they're actually saying, whether it's to a friend or whether it's online. So this is actually a dashboard that we built for a luxury car brand, as it happens. And no, it wasn't. It was for BA. And it basically trawls thousands of websites for editorial, thousands of blogs, and really tries to pick up what's being said about brands, and also the sentiment as well, because actually how much is being said is a very blunt read. Let's take a closer look at that. So this is actually for BA, and what you can see on the left-hand side is the competitive set. And you can see that they've put themselves up against Ryanair, Virgin Atlantic, and EasyJet. And you start to get, you can do this at any snapshot in time, or you can do it in a linear fashion. What I think is interesting about this is typically PR. This typically falls in the PR realm, and I see those boundaries just falling down. online advertising and marketing can really drive this. So the next step, it's not quite technically possible yet, the next step is to try and recognise on an individual level who's been exposed to what, where, and what did they say about it, what did they do. So try and close that loop. That's kind of holy grail stuff still, because it's very difficult to read those data sets together. And that's me done. So I'd invite some questions or reactions. And if you'd like any further details on any of the studies that I've mentioned, or actually just want to throw around some ideas, I very much welcome that.